Hey guys, Radio Guy here. Today we have a great project. We're going to be talking about homeowners associations, radio communications, how to get a good signal outside of your home. I know it's a challenge for many people that live in homeowners associations. You're not allowed to have outdoor antennas, the big fiberglass sticks. People have tried to hide them in the past, come into a lot of conflict and even financial penalties depending on how you choose to mount your antenna. So today I'm going to share a few ideas with you. Hopefully you find them useful, and we're going to get started. All right, guys. Well, here is an example of a gated community. They usually like to keep everything really uniform and structured. They don't like you painting your front doors yellow or red. Everything, even the color of your windows and doors, have to be approved by your homeowners association. So when talking about mounting antennas and doing permanent structures and buildings, infrastructure on your home, a lot of times you have to go through an approval process. What I'm suggesting here is when you do your antenna on the outside of your home, to use it and mount it onto a vent pipe. And a lot of you may not have even noticed that roofs have vent pipes, but there's little PVC pipes sticking up out of the roof that are connected to your sewer lines. They really serve no structural purpose to your roof. What they do is they just allow airflow to go from the roof down into like your sink and kitchen areas, your bathrooms, and allow the water to flow down. So it's a pipe that shouldn't have water coming out to your roof, and it's okay to mount things to it as long as they're not too large. Right here in this picture, can you spot a vent pipe? They're so small you drive through and you probably wouldn't even notice it. Well, there you go, it's right there. It's very small, and when you mount a small antenna on it, it's very, you probably won't notice it. Here's a close-up of a roof with a vent pipe. It actually has two vent pipes, number 1 and number 2. So this is an idea of a way you can mount your antenna and not have something 4 or 5 feet tall sticking out of your house that's white and fiberglass. And if you're driving through a neighborhood like this, you most likely won't see it. The only thing that might stick out to you is the coax coming down from your vent pipe off the edge of your roof. So that'll be up to you how to hide that. And hopefully this video is informative for you. The NMO style antenna mount we're using today is made by TRAM, T-R-A-M, and it's model number 1470. This has an NMO style top for the antenna to screw on. It has 4 ground plane elements that protrude out, and it has a N female connector on the bottom for the coax. This is meant to be clamped onto a pipe-like structure or a balcony. The antenna we're using today is made by Laird Technologies. It covers 450 megahertz to 470 megahertz. Keep in mind it's very important to use the type of antenna for the frequencies you're talking on. You wouldn't want to use this antenna for ham radio, but this works great for GMRS. It only is $17.50 on Amazon. So I've simulated a vent pipe sticking up from a rooftop. It's just black PVC that sticks up and protrudes from your roof. This is a great place to mount a small antenna, note small, off the roof of your house without anyone catching their eye or getting in trouble with the HOA. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with our mount right here, and you see there's no antenna on it. The first thing we're going to do is apply dielectric grease to the outside threads. There's threads on the outside here, and this is where we're going to put the grease. This is my dielectric grease right here. So what I've got is I've got a little bit of dielectric grease on my finger. We're going to place it on the outside of the threads right here. This will help. It's almost like using anti-seize for spark plugs. This will ensure that the water and moisture does not get in through the antenna connections, and it's also going to make it where if we want to unscrew the antenna in the future, we can do that without too much trouble. All right, so the dielectric grease is on there. Now we're going to take the antenna, which is the 450 to 470 megahertz Laird antenna. We're going to screw that on the top here. It's really important when you look at the center conductor for that. We don't want any grease on that center conductor. And I'm just going to screw this down until it's hand tight. doesn't need to be cranked down at all. Whenever you use dielectric grease, you also want to have a paper towel handy. You can wipe off all the extra goo. All right, the next piece we're going to do before we put this on is we're going to screw the antenna on to the base of the, or screw the coax onto the bottom of the antenna. I'm going to let you look at this. This is called the end connector. It's a little bit different than their normal coax connector. Normally you'd have a PL259 or SO239. This looks a little different. I like these, especially for outdoor applications. I think it keeps the water away from the center conductor a little better. The coax is right here. You can see how that looks different. So when you do this, normally, just like we did on the antenna, the outside thread's right here. The outside only, you put dielectric grease, and then you would attach your coax. It's easier to do this when it's not mounted to the pipe yet, so that's why we're going to do this. We're not going to use any tools to crank this down. We're just going to hand tighten it. So this is what your antenna should look like now. You should have the antenna on top. Let me move this. Should have the antenna on top and the coax going down below. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both pipe clamps on the pipe, just like that. I'm going to hold the antenna up. Then I'm going to slide the pipe clamps up one at a time into place and tighten them down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up the clamp and the antenna. There'll be about a 1/2 inch between the pipe clamp and the top of the pipe. I'm going to tighten down the first one and slide the second one up and do the same thing. Okay, so right now we have both pipe clamps on. I'll turn it sideways so you can see what it looks like. The coax is not in the pipe clamp. And this is what it should look like. And you have your little 6-inch antenna here, your little stubby antenna, your ground plane kit, which is going to help improve your cable, improve your signal, and it's going to be mounted on top of your roof to get it away from all the interference, electronics inside your home, and away from the walls, brick, other building materials like stucco that could infringe on your signal. So there you go. This is beautiful, and this is how you make good connections into a repeater. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative for you. I hope you learned something today. This project we just completed, this is fantastic. All right, you can use this camping. You can use this on a tent pole, anywhere you need to do an antenna. This is a great idea. Have one of these in your go bag, put it on your roof. Just really versatile. Okay, one thing we didn't talk about that we need to cover is how to waterproof this. We talked a little bit about right here on these threads. Before you screw this together, you're going to put that dielectric grease, that non-conductive grease. But after you do that, you're going to need to seal this up. The first step is to start up here at the very tip top, about past the connector, and go all the way about 3 or 4 inches down. You want to use conventional electrical tape. Make sure it's nice and tight. And this is going to be your first line of defense. Second line of defense. Over the top of the electrical tape, you're going to use this. I understand that you may not be able to read that. It's probably backwards on your screen, so I'll let you know what it says. It's Scotch tape. It's called mastic tape. And it's kind of a rubbery material. Reminds you of like taffy candy, right? So as you unroll it, it's stretchy. And you're going to wrap this around the electrical tape, starting at the top, going all the way down. And this is going to seal to itself, all right? So once you stretch that onto it, there's no undoing it. The only way to get that off is with the razor blade, and it's really sticky. So after you're done sealing that from the top to the bottom, 3 inches below the connector, another row of electrical tape. Make it nice and tight, and it's going to look really poofy, but that's okay. And when you're done, now all the connections are going to be watertight. If you don't do that, water, when it rains, can get down inside the connector here. This crimp part right here that's crimped on is not connected to this piece, and so water can get down inside your coax, and you don't see it on the outside, but it'll come down and it'll ruin your coax. Really important to seal all this up. And if you want to make this blend in with your roof better, you can take a can of black spray paint. You can spray paint the whole antenna. If you have a tile roof, you can paint it orange, whatever you'd like to do. All right. Thanks for joining me. This is the Radio Guy. And if you have any comments, be sure to write them down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Until next time, have a great afternoon. This is Radio Guy signing out.